I know that we're just joining, so I'll give it a few more moments, but we're here in our little Zoom room, and then we also have some of us on YouTube, so a warm welcome to all of us here today. And as we land here, I just thought we'll start with a regular moment of stillness and just find our presence here today. So warm welcome, and if you can find a comfortable seat and just feel your connection to the chair or the seat, and then feel through that a connection to earth. And just feeling the breath moving in and out of the body today. Just landing fully in the body, wherever you may be, wherever the breath may be today. You can lower your gaze or close your eyes if you haven't yet, and just perhaps take a screenshot, a little mental picture of how you're showing up today. How's your mind? Is it moving quickly? Are there a lot of thoughts coming in? Is it sort of slow and sluggish? Just recognizing where you are today. And then tuning into the feeling space or the space around the heart. And just noticing, how is the heart today? Noticing if there are any feelings or sensations. Just welcoming them if there's a joy or a deep sadness, or maybe even just a numbness to the feeling today. Just welcoming it here. And then the physical space, perhaps you already touched into this on your own, but just recognizing how the body feels today. Perhaps there's an ache or a pain, or perhaps everything feels quite fluid. Just welcoming any sensation in the body today. And when you're ready, just tune into what brought you here today. What was your main, hey, I want to go to Women Together to our Tuesday Connect today? What was your main reason for being here today? And then we will, once you have that settled in your mind, maybe condensed to 1 or 2 words, or maybe a statement. And when you're ready, you can type it into the chat and just share here. What brought you here today? And I'll read a couple of them out when you're ready. I see learning and connection. And if you're in YouTube, you can type it directly into the comments. Layering on tiny practices. So if anyone, a warm welcome if anyone's new as well. I see many familiar faces, but if you are new here, we do these tiny practices. So a tiny practice like just taking a moment of stillness and meditating. And we find that this is what allows us to cultivate resilience in ourselves and our lives, I see Ann P said togetherness, just the idea of coming together and doing tiny practices and developing resilience. Many of us came together during the height of the pandemic to just be able to practice and cultivate resilience. See Jerry, hello from hot Florida, looking for direction. Kathleen, warmth and reality sharing. Nina, I gained strength from this. Yeah. So, and that, Jerry, reminded me that we didn't share our locations. If you want to share a little hello, I saw the Winchester, Mass, the Boston, Massachusetts, the Setúbal, Portugal, but I realized I did not read them all out. Toronto, so if you also want to share your location, sometimes that's nice to just remind that we're part of one earth, we're connected here. Steamy suburban Philadelphia, I hear you on the steamy ness of it all. And coming in from Sweden, wonderful. Plainfield, New Jersey, meaningful connections with empathic women. Wonderful. So I'll dive in. Today's topic is around embodied learning. And what I wanted to share a little bit, I see, smoky and drying out, we hope. Vermont, Sherry, yes, I hope that Vermont is drying out. We've been continuing to get rain here in New York as well. And I saw Jean also put in building resilience and connecting with powerful women. Yes. So we are definitely doing that. Plainfield, New Jersey from Julie. So we are coming in from all over, even in our smaller group setting today. We are actually really, coming in from a wide swath of the world, even with our little group. And so it's a warm welcome to each of you. And thank you for joining and connecting in today. And we'll focus in on embodied learning. So just kind of a couple of thoughts on that, then we'll do a practice, and then we will move into breakouts and continue the practice, which actually is the magic of this space, is getting to connect with each other. But before we do that, I thought I'd share just a couple of thoughts on embodied learning. And a lot of what we do in this space is embodied learning. And I'll share a little bit from my own life. For many years, I was a swim instructor and a swim coach, and especially as a teenager, that was a big thing for me. And it's what actually led me in to do the kind of personal growth and development work, because when I was teaching, I taught ages kind of 6 months to people in their 90s swimming or water aerobics or whatever, whatever it was. I love being in the water. I've always loved it. And the other night I was actually teaching my nephews how to swim. And, it just brought me back to why I've been in this work. And so I thought I'd share that with you, because when I see a young person, kick their feet. So often when you see a child learning how to swim, they're sort of all over the place. They're using their knees, they're like, elbows, everything is sort of happening. And when you can actually shift something in the body. So, if I say floppy ankles when they're swimming, like make your ankles floppy, they kind of have no idea what I'm talking about. But if I actually do it with them, invite them to try it out, show them on my body, or, hold their feet and make their ankles floppy, or invite them to just do that kind of floppy action with their ankle, all of a sudden when they start to kick, and they get it, there's this aha moment. There's this clicking in of, oh yeah. And they do it differently. And all of a sudden their little motorboat feet going, So there's this moment when we experience something in the body that we go from this experience of not knowing to an experience of embodied knowing. And an experience of, they might have moved across the water a bit and they might have gotten somewhere. Last week, we did a wonderful session with Leanne Mallory, who took us through a really powerful practice with movement and emotion and mindset, mission, and energy, and kind of looking at how these areas, how do we get in our own way? And one of the things that she invited us into was that this is an embodied practice of how we get in our own way. It is not just in the mind. There definitely are places where, it's in the mind that, my thoughts shut me down. but often it's our patterns are so deeply ingrained in our bodies, and our bodies don't really know any other way. So we're just going to do the same thing that we've always done. And that a lot of it may work, like brushing our teeth in the morning. We don't need to think through and learn how to brush our teeth again, right? But there are certain things, and I think, as a group of this Women Together space, the patriarchy for thousands of years, having a particular way of operating. And I noticed when I was in a meeting the other day, and I was, working with a group of men who were trying to understand how they are showing up in their workplace in a way that was not conducive for some of the women or women in general, actually. And I noticed in myself when I walked into this meeting that I had something in my body that said, protect the men. It was just an immediate sort of thing that came up that was like, protect the men and, make sure they're going to be okay emotionally, physically. And it's something that is not in my mind. In my mind, I have all of the clear reasons, and I even have like anger and, a lot of things that go through my brain that are like, not the best maybe, but what my body is telling me is often generations old. So there's a field of science called epigenetics that really shows how we have been picking up our mothers and even our grandmothers' movements and feelings and reactions. So one of the studies in epigenetics is that when a baby mouse is pregnant, for example, if you have the pregnant mouse smell peppermint and then shock them when the baby is born, even though they didn't have that same experience, they carry that aversion to the smell of peppermint. So they, don't want to be near it. They, feel like something's going to happen. So these things are passed on to us. And so that means that often we're carrying things in our bodies that are not necessarily ours. It's not necessarily something that I experienced or even my mom experienced. It could be that my grandmother experienced it and I was just an egg in my grandmother at that time, and the DNA passes on. So we don't always know, sometimes I get this rise of anger and I'm like, what is this? There's no reason for me to be this upset or something, but there's a lot that I carry. There's a lot that all of us carry that gets stored in the body. So that's just a little reminder of the, what we're carrying around every day, all day. And, there are a lot of tools and practices that we can use to move through it. So I thought we'd do a couple of things. One is a little bit of a body scan just to see where we are today, just do the kind of level set. And then the other is a bit of a movement practice. And we haven't done a real kind of movement thing in our space here in a little while. I mean, we do them, but I thought we'd just share one and then we can take that actually into the breakout. So we'll have space together to continue to practice and to continue to chat with each other. So with that said, maybe we just do a little moment of a body scan. So we can just find a comfortable position. If that position is lying down, that's okay too. If it's seated, that's wonderful. Just find a comfortable spot. And just take a deep breath. So earlier we may have tuned into the breath and just kind of become aware of the breath. And now I'm inviting you to deepen the breath. So you might take a full breath into the belly. Oftentimes we're only breathing in the top 10% of our lungs. So just using the fullness, 100% of our lungs, feeling the breath moving into the belly, into the chest and the collarbones, and then exhaling all the way out, exhaling the collarbones, the chest, the belly, all the way out. And then inhaling, filling the belly again, the chest, the collarbones, and then exhaling again, letting everything out. And as you follow the breath, you can close your eyes or lower your gaze. And again, just coming back to the screenshot we did earlier of the body today, noticing where the body is, feeling the points where you may be connected to the earth, where the body is connected to itself. So I have my hands on my lap, so just feeling the hands and where they are, the feet where they are. I'd like you to bring your awareness and attention to the toes. So you could pick one toe and just focus on that, or you could do all 10 toes. And just become aware of your toes. Noticing if there's any pain or tension. Bringing your awareness to the full foot. Noticing how the foot feels in this moment. Are the feet comfortable? Are they relaxed? Bringing the awareness to the ankles, the calves. Just feeling the lower leg, becoming aware of the lower leg. Bringing the awareness to the knees. And again, just noticing if there's any pain or tension in there. And the awareness to the thighs, the quads, the hamstrings, just feeling the body, feeling the legs. And then feeling the glutes, pelvis, the pelvic floor, the seat. Perhaps breathing into the seat, breathing into the pelvic floor. So feeling the inhale, feeling the breath, pulling the breath down into the pelvic floor. And on the exhale, letting the breath move the awareness up into the core, into the belly, to the gut, to your intuitive knowing. And then exhale up to the chest. Collarbones, shoulders. Bring the awareness to the back of the body. To the shoulder blades and the spine. Just noticing again, maybe you've had ongoing pain or new pain or tension, or maybe it all feels just really good today. Just being aware. And then bringing the awareness to the fingertips, the hands, the wrists. And again, just noticing if there's any pain or tension. Bringing the awareness to the forearms, the elbows, the bicep, tricep area. Just being aware of our fingers all the way up to our shoulders. And then to the neck, the back of the neck, base of the skull. Just exploring these different parts of the body, becoming aware of the body, perhaps being more grounded in the body. Being aware of the space behind the eyes, the nose and the mouth, the chin, the lips, and then even the crown of the head. Just noticing if there's any tension or any pain. And if there was a spot that was even just tight, a spot in the body that's even just a little bit tight, I'd like you to invite that space, invite some breath to that part of the body. So take a breath in and send all of the breath to that part of the body. And ask that part of the body if it has anything to say to you. Often the body knows, the body is aware, or it has been trying to tell us something. So for example, I have a pain in the middle of my left foot. So I ask it, middle of the left foot, what is it that you're trying to tell me? What is it that I need to know? Perhaps it's an invitation to slow down. Just seeing if one of these parts of the body, you can continue to move on. If there's another part of the body, shoulder, hip, taking a breath, bringing the breath to that part of the body, and asking it, what is it that you are trying to tell me? What is it that this pain or this tension or this tightness may be trying to say? What can I learn here from the body? And when you're ready, you can look up, and if you have a journal, you might take a moment to just write in that journal any messages that you got from the body today. Or if you just have a piece of paper and a pen, or even a note app, although I prefer the writing utensil, and just jot down, what lesson is my body trying to tell me today? What is it that my body might know? I think often we have the brain sort of saying, this is what's going on, and telling the body what to do. And what we're looking for is, what is the body actually trying to say? What is the body saying? Because often when we're, last week we did this topic of getting in our own way. Often when we're getting in our own way, our body knows why we're not doing whatever it is. Our brain is saying, go, go, go. Here's my mission. Here's my goal. And the body is like, let me tell you why. That's not going to happen today. So checking in with the body, what is it that the body is trying to tell me? Maybe there were a couple of different spots, so just check in. Left foot, right hip, whatever it is that's maybe going on for you. And then when we're completed with that question, maybe there's a message that you want to share with your own body. And you can write that down now. So perhaps there's just it could just be a gratitude. It could just be a thank you. Thank you, body, for being here and doing what you do every day. So it could just be a thank you. Could be a commitment to listen more, to be more aware. Maybe the body needs just a relaxing something. Maybe the body's asking for something. You can make that happen. So just noticing if there's a commitment that you want to make to the body. And then before we move into the connection practice with each other, I'll just share a little bit that one of our teachers, Thomas Hubel, shares that the body is really thousands of years of genetic material. And so this knowing, this deep embodied knowing, and this ability to learn with the body is such an incredible gift that has been given to us by our ancestors and by the earth. So just a reminder that as we take care of the body continues to take care of us. And it always has these lessons for us. It always has something to share. So it's just about listening in and paying attention. So we'll move into the breakouts and we'll just share with each other. It's wonderful always to just kind of connect and say hello. And the reminder here is that we don't know what the other person had for breakfast, let alone what may be on their mind or what may be moving through their body. So as we go into this conversation, just having the softness, as we go into the body space, there may even be less words than we are used to. So it's not just a, hey, how are you? It's really diving in with sharing your name and where you're coming from, but also recognizing that being in the body opens up a groundedness that gives us a deeper space for connection. So you share your name, where you're coming from, and then if you feel comfortable with it, sharing a bit about what your body had to say to you today. So what was coming up for you around what's going on with the body. So enjoy the time together. We'll be about 20 minutes and then we'll have a good 10 minutes for dialogue here in the bigger group. So enjoy the time and I'll see you back here in 20 minutes.